Hey guys, this is BiXX. Welcome to another Mentoring Monday. Today I'll talk about part 2 of being vulnerable, a very sensitive and deep topic. In part 1, I talked about what is vulnerability and being vulnerable in the following areas: in relationships, in your mind and body, and in the workplace. And if you missed it, go check it out, for it will help you in today's video. So today, I'll talk about the 5 benefits of vulnerability. You might be wondering, how is being vulnerable beneficial? Am I exposing and opening myself up to possible human malware attacks? So I'm not too excited about doing this. Hopefully, after today's talk, you'll perceive vulnerability as a superpower. You'll move from the fear of being vulnerable to unleashing its power to be your true self and reap the benefits. So here are what I perceive to be the 5 most powerful benefits of vulnerability. Number 1, it strengthens relationships. Have you ever noticed why some of your relationships are stronger than others? Many of the strongest relationships come from being vulnerable. Whether it's showing empathy, sharing information with someone you trust, or simply expressing needs and wants openly without judgment. As the leader of my company, my management team responded much better to me when I was vulnerable rather than tough and relentless, which I was kind of known to do back then. Being vulnerable showed that I cared and had feelings like a real person and not just a boss. I set the tone for the team to be vulnerable as well. I've also learned that people can be at their creative best when they feel comfortable being vulnerable. They feel safe. This works great in the workplace where growth and creativity are important. It lays the foundation where the best ideas win. The world's best companies practice this. Number 2, being vulnerable can help us grow and learn. This is a part of the human experience. Having a relationship with vulnerability, with things falling apart, is a life changer. Instead of being a problem, it can be a solution. Being vulnerable removes our defense mechanisms that actually can prevent us from recognizing the true cause or the true problem, thus helping our mind focus on the best path or solutions going forward. On the contrary, do you know of people who are so defensive and so busy in denial that they lack the ability to take any responsibility for their behavior? They remain stuck on the merry-go-round of seemingly bad luck and bad circumstances. I know of a few people like this. They lack vulnerability. I tried to help them, but with no success. Here's one more example of how you can learn from being vulnerable. When you are vulnerable with someone, one of 2 things will happen. They will appreciate it and become more open and honest, vulnerable with you. Or they'll take advantage of you. If this happens, they're exposing their true intentions. Eliminate these kinds of people in your life. Better to know now than invest more time in them. Number 3, being vulnerable expands gratitude. Have you ever noticed people who seem to have this ability to love with their whole heart, without conditions, to give unconditional love? We have to be vulnerable to love with a whole heart, to be free from playing the what if game. What if this happens? Or what if that happens? I don't want to take the risk. While giving unconditional love comes from a place of vulnerability, it also fills us with a growing sense of gratitude and joy. Personally, when I've done nice things for people and I've expected something in return, I've often been disappointed. Their sense of loyalty and appreciation to those who help them is often different than mine, so it leaves me disappointed. However, when I've given without expectations or conditions, not only has it felt better, but it's also allowed me to experience the joy of giving in its purest form, without expectations or conditions. Number 4, being vulnerable improves self-awareness. When you work on letting go of your assumptions and biases, you become more curious. You begin the process of accepting uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. That moment when you admit you don't know everything opens up a path for you to continue to explore, grow, and learn. When I started on this brand new journey of music producer, DJ, mentor, and speaker on these motivational videos, I became a student again. The heaviness and sometimes know-it-all attitude of being successful was replaced by the lightness of becoming a beginner again. I was less sure about everything. I was more curious, more open to learning. It freed me up to begin one of the most creative times of my life, to create important life stories and messages through music, to figure out how to help others with my life lessons and experience that I learned over a lifetime. Can you understand how allowing yourself to be vulnerable can release your inner power? Okay, last but not least, number 5. Vulnerability affirms you are enough. When you choose to be vulnerable, you've recognized that you're enough. This is who you are and what you bring to the table. This is how you demonstrate kindness and how you interact with people in your life. This is when you begin to understand that what you offer is exactly what is needed at the moment. And it's okay if you make a mistake, because you'll listen and you'll learn how to grow from it. So can you now better understand the benefits of being vulnerable? And knowing when to be vulnerable can actually help you in so many ways. I hope today's topic has given you some clarity and some confidence. So in 2 weeks, I'm going to finish up this topic by talking about the difficulties of allowing yourself to be vulnerable, 3 misconceptions about vulnerability, 3 ways to be more vulnerable, and take the plunge, how to implement what you learned and to make it a healthy habit. This is BiXX signing off, and remember, it's never too late to reinvent yourself. Cheers.